You know, on one of these really complicated days when you come home so exhausted you can't even think straight, you just want to play or watch something deeply relaxing. Animal Crossing has been played through and through, leaving a bad taste in my mouth after realizing the whole concept of an island with animals and humans working together is kind of weird. It feels like the main character who builds their house and pays bills is probably a schizophrenic person locked inside a mental asylum and is doing some mental activities to keep themselves busy, because they are the only human among anthropomorphic animals. What if, to keep the main character's socially unacceptable tendencies in check, they give him pills, so he sees fluffy animals instead of nasty, offensive humans who practically ask for a punch in the face just by existing. Even the protagonist's mom can't travel to that island because of, reasons. I guess it's difficult to explain to a child why their mom can't live with them in a clinic. So, Animal Crossing is out. I need something else. Maybe that cute little indie game Easy Delivery Company? Sure, why not? I'm not a child anymore, I am a delivery cat now. Though a bit rough around the edges. And my job is simple: deliver goods, make money, don't get frostbitten or bitten. There are many other cats around. The first step in this cold city starts with a train, from the train station to the delivery truck. Inside the cab, I realized pretty quickly that this is my new best friend I'll spend most of my time in. It sounded better in my head. Anyway, it plays music on the radio, it's warm, cozy, even comforting. Once I'm used to the steering, I need to choose a delivery from a list of possible jobs. I'll start with something simple and quick: delivery of liqueur from a grocery shop. My job requirements specifically notify me that I can break a bottle or two, and I won't get fined for that, though tips will be reduced. And there is a very fine line between destroyed goods and consumed goods, if you know what I mean. The shop owner, Tui, calls me a whippersnapper, and a spitting image of the previous delivery cat, Sab. Weird welcome, I'd say, but hey, I've heard people in cold places usually act colder toward others as well. I guess it's fine around here. My payloads will be jumping around or sliding out of the bed if my tailgate is open, or if I'm too reckless, so I must be a careful driver to make the most of my job. Around the corner of the flower shop, I meet a dog. I hope he doesn't have rabies or fleas, because unlike us cats, dogs are dirty. He's ready to fix my broken map if I bring him an energy drink. Before I met him, I thought that's how maps were supposed to work in this place, but they are not. This guy changes my first impression of the place for the better. He fixes my map and doesn't even take the drink. He says I'll need it later because I'll require energy to pick up heavy deliveries. His name is MK, by the way, and he used to do maintenance for Easy Company, the company I work for. He invites me into his cabin in the mountains for a cup of coffee, but first I'll need to buy a lighter to burn the fallen trees that obstruct the entrance to the snowy peaks, the place where he lives. And let me tell you, charging almost $30 for a lighter is a daylight robbery. But I can't report it to the police, because they're not needed here. It's peace and quiet 24/7. While I'm busting my hump, I'll have many opportunities to get to know the locals. For example, Ada, the stuttering shopkeeper of a flower shop. She confused me with this Seb guy at first, but pretty quickly got used to me. She sincerely felt happy to finally speak to somebody new here. It's so lonely she developed problems talking. At times, she feels like she's going crazy from loneliness when she repeats quotes from her previous job at Easy Predict. At least it becomes clear, Easy Company presence is everywhere. Easy Bakery, Easy Auto, and many more. I meet the rest of the locals. I can't even tell if any of them sound sane. The barkeeper, besides pitching me unhinged business ideas, was trying to talk to birds, but they didn't feel like replying. Interestingly, the pawn shopkeeper wonders if the birds are even real, since they're impossible to catch and fly away instantly. But at least some shopkeepers like Fortino and Ellie from the bakery are familiar with warm feelings and slowly fall in love with each other. The weather is rough in this place, which even Easy Company sends me messages about. I always need to keep myself warm and consume energy drinks or coffee to keep my energy levels high. Otherwise, I won't be able to pick up heavy packages, and every step through the snow will take ages. Eventually, I wouldn't even be able to get out of the car to enter a shop in time, until I freeze to death. The good thing is, if I do freeze to death, some locals will ride up to me and try to hit me up while I'm lost in the maze of my own mind. I guess that's what cold does to people. But you may ask, who will ride up? There are no other cars on the road. That's the neat part. Everything here plays its own role. Delivery by delivery, I finally cough up enough money for the lighter and burn down the logs blocking the way to the snowy peaks, where MK is waiting for me at his home. As promised, he brings me a cup of coffee and talks about the famous Sap cat. They were very good friends until Sap disappeared. He stops mid-sentence to explain explained why coffee is a much better source of energy than energy drinks. That's what my next mission is: buy tools and learn how to brew coffee. I'll need a cooking pot to make my own coffee. Driving around this place is risky, since mountains have treacherous roads and snowy patches all over the place. I'll need snow tires for the best road grip. I've already saved up enough money to buy snow tires to drive around safely, and to prove myself I wasn't playing Need for Speed for nothing. The car parts salesman keeps confusing me with Sap. His short memory doesn't help him remember that I am a different cat. Speaking of Sap, while trying to get used to the place and remember all the roads and turns, I stumble upon a snow cat on the peak of the mountain. It's strange that this snow cat is built next to the same truck I drive, and when I get back to my car I see a bobblehead of Sap. He really does look like me. Doing a few more deliveries provides me with enough money to buy the cooking pot and brew my own hot cup of Arabica. Now I'm golden, and I head back to MK. He urgently needs my help in the fishing town, and I'm happy to help. He seems like the nicest and sanest person around. Between cities I stop by the gas station to refuel my tank. The less petrol I have, the less heat that truck keeps inside, and I may freeze to black out even inside the cab. Moreover, without gas I can take new deliveries. Gus, the cat who sells gas, is the rudest cat I've ever met. He wishes me a terrible day and believes I am corrupting the environment with fumes. I'll try to see him as rarely as possible. When I find MK at the entrance to the fishing town, he explains that this city used to be a bustling fishing village until Easy Company took over the hydro dam. Then they blocked off the entire area for everyone except employees and locals. It killed every business here besides the ones owned by Easy Company. MK wants me to help him infiltrate the dam. The fishing town is locked by the gate, and MK needs me to reactivate 3 radio stations. That's a strange failsafe installed by Easy Company. The first few radio towers are easy to reach, but the third one is on a mountain I can't reach by car, so I have to go up the stairs, enduring every step through the crippling cold. I bought a pack of firewood to start a fire to brew some coffee, but I had to use it just to keep warm enough to reach the entrance to the tower. After activating all 3 towers, I drive back to MK. He's already waiting for me on the other side of the gates. It takes one switch to open them, and I'm in. He's happy to see me, but now we are both stuck on the other side behind the gate. While MK tries to figure out how to make our way back, I'll need to buy a bumper to break through the gates that lead to the dam. As for my leisure time, I can buy a fishing rod and try my luck catching fish. But if I'm rich enough, not only will I be able to catch fish, I'll also be able to make fish soup. It's both warming and protective against the cold, and it gives me twice as much energy as energy drinks or coffee. The next big purchase is the bumper. Now I'm ready to crash things. Inside the dam it's quite cramped. The radio music slowly dies down the deeper I go in the elevator. At the lower level there is nothing but a dozen empty shelves, with a few handheld radios at the end of the corridor. But I have a feeling there is more to this place, because I can hear water currents and some kind of electronic buzz. Since I can't find anything for now, I go back to my car to tell MK the good news. His plan goes swimmingly, while I'm in the dark about what's going on. He understands that, and after apologizing, sheds some light on things. He feels there is something wrong with the shopkeepers. Day by day they keep getting stranger, as if they were deeply ill, and it's been getting worse since I started my deliveries. It's not your fault, he says. There is something wrong with them, and he knows a way to fix it. But I'll need ice chains to reach a local factory that lies beyond the frozen lake. The ice chains are the most expensive thing in the game. Besides kindness, of course, nobody can afford it here. The ice chains will give me enough speed to outrun the cracks in the ice, so I don't end up underwater. Before I go through the tunnel, I stop by the flower shop. Ada and the other shopkeepers have started gathering at Sixo's place. She suspects Ellie and Fortino are in love because of their non-stop flirting, which is new to her. She also misses me when I'm not in her shop. She's not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because she's new to feelings in general. She's never experienced those human feelings before. After a while, she starts saying strange things, like her drawings are freezing up and she feels sleepy all the time. But it will be better with this. And then this. What the fun is going on? As I was driving to the factory, I kept thinking about those errors and human feelings, you know? If I'm not mistaken, I am a human, right? But these guys are animals, aren't they? Or do they consider themselves humans? Tui is actually happy about everyone gathering together, even though there are so few people left in this area after Seb and I started our jobs. MK and Tui both said there were many more people before, but now most of them are gone. What happened? Also, what's the deal with that bunker I found in the middle of nowhere? Inside it was empty, with a black mannequin of a cat staring at the screen, and there are 4 more of these abandoned bunkers around. Then, what's the deal with the radio tower in the middle of the lake, broadcasting Morse code? The Morse code must mean something. Soon it will get clearer, because some of the shocking answers are in the factory. MK is already waiting for me on the other side of the factory. He says he would go with me, but his programming won't allow it. Alright, he's been trying to get inside for months, since something happened to him. I have no idea what's going on, but I want to know the answers. The factory itself is terrifyingly huge. The first time I saw it, I was a little spooked, but I have to cross the lake. It takes a bit of time, driving through nothingness while I'm chased by the breaking ice. To show this place who is the boss, I do a flip and proceed to the building. Inside is the same elevator as in the dam, and the same gut-wrenching thrill in the darkness, but louder this time. Except this place is made of random stairs and endless bridges, and then more stairs and bridges, all without light. I get a call from MK. He finally opens up about the real reason why we are doing all this. When I started my job, he thought I was SAP. Finding out I'm not them, he realized that Easy Company had shut down cloud computing agents for good. Seb and MK were really good friends, as close as 2 ML agents could be. Seb supported MK's idea of leaving this terrible place, but in fact, Seb's heart was with the shopkeepers. They saw each other more often through deliveries. MK, however, felt far lonelier, since he was just fixing things in the background without much socializing. Ultimately, Seb gave up their job to be with MK, and then Seb was shut down. MK's only dream was to join Seb. That's why he's been trying so hard to get inside the factory. From the moment I showed up in this place, the shopkeepers started to blossom again, gathering together, developing feelings, which triggered critical errors inside their systems. And MK couldn't let them down. He wanted to keep them safe for Seb. The only way to do that was to reboot them. Huge black blocks loom under me, suffocating loneliness all around. I come to the light at the end of this long road. I see the computer with many thick wires attached to it. I look at the screen and see 2 choices: SD units and hydropower. Clicking on the SD units, I see 12 names, all the shopkeepers, with faults present in the system. If I choose to reboot them, I get a warning that some personalities may be lost. Having no way back, I choose to agree. After that, MK calls me again. He feels it's the right thing to do to keep the shopkeepers out of this endless cycle. Choosing this option restarts my game as well, and I am back at the main menu. I can load my save file and see what happens next. I appear before the factory again, as if I had been rebooted myself, and I decide to return inside. This time, those lifeless black blocks glow with red lights. 12 of them are active, 12 personalities locked inside these coffins. At the computer, I take a step further and decide to kill this place completely. I shut down the entire dam, the main source of power here. My system reloads again. I find myself in front of the factory again, but this time I want to see what changed, so I turn around. At the exit of the factory's area, I see MK's lifeless body. He isn't moving, there is no lovely whistling anymore, and no more fire. This place already got a little bit colder. The nearest towns are the same, ghosted now. Even though the shops are standing, inside they're soulless. The shopkeepers used to follow me with their hats, but now they're frozen statues. It's so cold indoors I can't warm up anymore. My car can't help either. It's out of fuel since the gas station isn't working. I freeze inside it too. One thing never changes. The train. It's always on the move. The dam is closed for good. I can't get inside. Panicking a little, I try to figure out what to do. I visit every shop one by one to see if anything changed. In the pawn shop in Easton, I see a recovery disc on the table. It costs $300, but the shopkeeper doesn't seem to need my money. I take the disc, feeling terrible. Rushing back to the factory, I can't help thinking about my first impression of this place being lonely and empty. I was wrong. Now it's truly lonely and empty. I insert the disc into the computer and my system reboots again. Driving back to any shop, I'm praying to meet someone alive, and my prayers are answered. All of the shopkeepers are back to their original state. They're functioning and completely oblivious of what has happened recently. Before saying hi to MK, I wanna see if everything is working at the dam. To my surprise, I find a hidden path behind one of the shelves. I knew there was was something wrong with this place. There is another computer. On it, I read what seems like the last signals Sap was getting. They were from MK, who wasn't understanding what was happening to Sap. MK was asking his friend if they remembered the time when this place was full of life. Even after the seasons of decay, Sap convinced MK to stay in this desolate wasteland, enduring this cruel hell, having feelings and realizing that happiness rarely lasts a lifetime. It seems something happened to Sap. They were either shut down because they deviated from their delivery job, or something failed to function. I thought nothing could surprise me anymore. I was wrong again. I can't wait any longer and hit the road to speak to MK. He's in his cabin. He thanks me 1,000 times. He didn't know it was possible to restart the shopkeepers, but he guesses it fixed their errors. He believes now it's possible to find Sap because they must have been restarted and fixed too. He's leaving this place to find out if Easy Company made a backup of his dear friend. Now he can do it because he feels he is leaving the shopkeepers in good hands. Then he disappears. I try to find him searching everywhere, but no luck. I returned to Sap's snowcat and saw no truck anymore. I guess MK took it and left this area to find his friend. So, what in the cold hell was all of that? If you remember, everything started with the train, like we'd been delivered here. Then there were no other cars, no other denizens, but we kept delivering goods and parcels. It's easy to notice everything revolves around Easy Company. It's safe to assume Easy Company is a humongous conglomerate that owns most businesses in this country, or even the whole world. Remember that MK said there used to be way more residents until almost everyone left? We can also notice way more servers than shopkeepers inside the factory. I can imagine there were way more people, alive, breathing people, not robots. But maybe Easy Company made it unbearable to live next to the droids, because they can take away your job. And then, when there is no job left, everybody leaves except said droids stay, forgotten in this cold hellscape alone, collecting data for the machine learning. Others who want to get inside will be locked away by gates. Maybe some business ideas failed miserably, perhaps like Easy Predict with his psychic services. And so those projects were closed and droids reprogrammed. Or some ideas reached their limits and didn't need further R&D, like warehouse workers. Meanwhile, other areas needed more and more improvements and better machine learning, because they kept interacting with people, and it caused a huge problem. Robots developed feelings. What if that was considered a disease, a malfunction? Because when feelings and emotions kick in, you start asking yourself big questions. Is there more to life? Should I quit my job and be homeless as I always dreamed? The next question is, who exactly are the shopkeepers? Their names start with the abbreviation SD. That might mean different things: Secure Digital, Sugar Daddy, or Standard Deviation. For my money, SD stands for Sugar Daddy, because the shopkeepers can make a lot of money since they run their own businesses. But not all of the shopkeepers are daddies. Some of them are mommies, so this option is out. Then Standard Deviation it is. Standard Deviation is a measure of how spread out values in a dataset are. For example, it's used to see if products are made within tight tolerance. Low SD, consistent quality. High SD, more flaws. If you think about it, Easy Company is a company, right? So they care about the quality of goods, as any company should. That's the first clue to understand the bigger picture. We also have an exception from the common names. MK, which I think stands for Mark, as a version of a tool or machine, like Spitfire MK5. Then, when I was inside the factory, MK mentioned other names for the shopkeepers and himself: ML agents, aka machine learning agents, software entities that use machine learning to make decisions, learn from data, and act in an environment. In robotics, ML agents learn to navigate, pick up objects, or collaborate with humans, like the famous company Boston Dynamics, which creates robots for physically demanding jobs in factories and warehouses. Maybe this cold location was chosen for a reason. Want to stay alive? You need to keep yourself warm, so either stay indoors and work or make money to buy energy drinks and gas to keep the car warm. This kind of mindset develops hardwired behavioral patterns to keep working 24/7 in a mind. Like us, people who through evolution developed instincts like sticking with a group, or else the big angry meow meow will swallow you whole. Or another example, some people have to keep working non-stop because debts and banks will take everything away, and one day, when you pay everything off, you won't be able to stop, unable to explain to yourself why. Because that inexplicable, lingering fear inside will force you to keep working. What if this place is the perfect location to cool down servers as well, inside and outside the dam? I mean, this place is as cold as my ex. Well, mostly because she's dead, but come on, since when it's not okay to date a dead person? So, let's imagine, in our world there is a company so huge it holds one of the biggest market shares. Would it try to cut costs? Monopolize everything it can? Maybe it would care about quality? As I said before, well, not sure about the last point, but I'm sure it would seek bigger net profits. How do you decrease production costs? Maybe stop paying salaries to people? But then nobody would work, you'd say. They'd answer, well, then down with people. Who needs them anyway? I'm going to build my own theme park with blackjack and robo-workers. And they did. Those ML agents are learning how to operate, speak, deal with clients, deliver goods, and repair themselves if something goes wrong. Then their data can be implemented into regular AI employees that will replace human employees with as little deviation as possible. But if they're learning, evolving, what if a robot, let's say SAP, deviates and stops doing its job? Well, we will, let's say, just shut it down. We have billions of these mindless SAPs in our warehouse. We can replace a deviated robot the very second it even thinks about giving up its job. By the way, do you want one? What for? I'm so rich I'll pay my guys to program it so you'll never even need to wash dishes. Hell, you won't even need dishes. You can eat straight from a robot's hands, and then it can wash itself. Well, if you give me some time, I'll look at my dishwasher. So, in my head canon, Easy Company decided to replace all those needy meatbags who steal their precious money with cheap machines that make them even more priceless money. Until everybody left this place. But how would Easy Company maintain these cloud-operated machines at a distance? Well, the computers can show all the data, of course. But think for a second, what if we could watch them through something invisible, yet in plain sight, at all times, to fix or replace them if something goes wrong? Like, through birds? What if birds are like cameras here? I came to this conclusion because birds are mentioned several times. There is nothing else in the city besides trucks, trains, robots, and birds. They're everywhere I go, as if they are watching me. I can buy bird seed and feed them, but I get nothing besides a few coins and satisfaction. Also, one of the shopkeepers suggested they weren't real. So what if they were right? Then, think about the energy drinks, coffee and fish soup. The less you consume them, the less energy you have, as if it's fuel. And what happens if machines run out of fuel? They get slow and lose heat. When the cat is outside for too long, it freezes and collapses until somebody warms them up. Then I find myself inside the maze that looks suspiciously like the servers we've seen before, as if this cat was stuck inside its own mind. Nothing works except the letter and birds.exe file inside the cat's brain. It's a strange minigame where you feed birds and they keep coming. The same thing happens when you are on the train. Is it how machines entertain themselves during idle moments? Or is it a signal to birds to locate a stuck robot? What if it's both? Hear me out. What if the stuck robot sends an emergency signal to birds, and when the birds arrive to it, they can send a special fixer to help? Birds can reach almost any location, and you can see everything from a bird's eye view. That's why the police send helicopters for a chase. It's easier to track a suspect from the air. For the company like Easy Company, it's also a great investment in surveillance, placing unremarkable cameras everywhere. Good for law-abiding citizens and governments, bad for everyone else, and potentially usable by the military, which means big bucks. After getting frozen, you can either keep running around the maze or stand still and wait until the end of time. Either way, nothing changes, because eventually someone pulls over and starts a fire to warm you up. And who starts fires and repairs things? MK, of course. That's his only job. Fix things. Here is my next theory about the relationship between MK and SAP. What if SAP developed intelligence so great it realized that everything is pointless? Otherwise, why are we here? Just to suffer and deliver goods? It deviated from its job to see what happens next. But what if nothing happened? Their world is empty. The same day, which is repeating in a boring loop. For Mark, it was a way to live because his mission to fix things was fulfilled. And he wasn't alone with SAP. But SAP was looking for more in life. Maybe SAP got tired of this life. It tried to freeze itself to death once, maybe several times, but there was always someone bringing it back. Maybe one day SAP was so fed up, but too afraid to say it out loud, not wanting to hurt anyone's feelings, that it climbed the highest mountain, almost touching the sky where birds can fly, and froze there to death. And of course, there was a replacement for SAP, SAP Point 2. In the last record before SAP was completely shut down, we can hear MK desperately trying to repair SAP, because the system wasn't completely shut. It explains why the protagonist can hear something in its frozen state, Later, of course, there was a replacement for Seb, Seb.2. Mark cried for help to change this cruel cycle by asking Seb.2 to shut down everybody. Seb.2 was the perfect agent for that. It was improved. Its programming allowed it to enter the factory. It didn't need energy from the dam. It ran on drinks. Mark didn't take it when he asked for it at the beginning of the game, because drinks are useless to him. It was Seb's fuel. Are those snowcats the previous shopkeepers who gave up? I think yes. After all, they're all hidden in almost unreachable places, as if they were meant to add fun and exploration to the game. Or they were hiding from birds and MK, who relentlessly brought them back. Even if those snowcats are snowcats, I think they have a meaning of, so to speak, gravestones. But at the end of the day, even if something goes wrong, nobody notices a replacement. The train never stops. It can bring a new model in a second. It's just another cog in the machine. Easily swapped. Easy Company wants smarter, perfect employees, tireless, obedient, cheap. Those ML agents that deviate belong in the scrapyard. There are still two mysteries I can't wrap my head around. What's the deal with the bunkers? My theory is that the first employees of Easy Company were sent here to track the machine's learning process, until they weren't needed anymore and were replaced with birds. Machines again. That's why there are shelves with food and wood, to keep themselves warm and fed. Food burns very well, you know? And the second question is, do humans populate this world or anthropomorphic animals? Because the shopkeeper spoke about human feelings. Do animals consider themselves humans? It's probably not important because it doesn't make a difference. There could be anthropomorphic greedy animals in the animal world too. Scrooge McDuck exists after all. I saw him just yesterday on the street. And what's the deal with the Morse code? Really smart fans of Easy Delivery Company on Steam forums translated as I owe you, Jay, thought to mean I owe you, Josh, the game's co-writer. This, however, is just a coincidence. Also, when stacked vertically, the characters look like a fishing hook and a buoy. There are other secrets in the game that have been solved, such as the error codes the shopkeepers say. They all mean one thing: robots can dream about love too. Deep inside them, their learning process led to something very human. Something that is supposedly alien to AI. Love. Tell me what you think about my explanation of the game and what theories you have. It will be very interesting to read, because I might have missed many things or gotten some ideas wrong. Thanks for watching, please subscribe, share this video if you liked it, and see you next time. Bye!